Everyone tells you that finding love after 50 is just about getting back out there, right? Download the dating apps and say yes to every single social invitation and just slap on a brave face. But what they don't talk about is this persistent phantom of a broken heart that tags along on every single date. They fail to mention the full weight of a life you've already lived or the future you had planned with someone else that just vanished. What if the brutal truth isn't that you're too old for love, but that you haven't learned how to date with a healing heart? What if the real work isn't about finding the right person, but about rediscovering the person in your own mirror first? Stick with me, because today we're ditching the platitudes and getting real about the raw, messy, and ultimately hopeful truth of finding love in the second half of your life. Welcome to Waves of Change. This is my journey of retiring, relocating, and writing what peace means for me. Because you're never too late and your peace is never too far. A first date in your 20s is a flurry of feeding fears. But a first date in your 50s, that can feel like an act of monumental, terrifying courage. It's not just about will we have chemistry or will they get my jokes. It's about carrying an entire history into that coffee shop with you. It's the story of a 23-year marriage that met a miserable, messy end you never ever saw coming. It's the quiet grief of being a widow and feeling like you're betraying your beloved late spouse for even thinking about letting someone in. It's the sting of a divorce that left you financially shaky, emotionally wrecked, and questioning everything you knew about marriage or relationships. This isn't just a simple heartbreak. It's a seismic midlife shake. The pain pierces deeper, proving profoundly more complex. You didn't just lose a person, you lost the future you had meticulously co-authored. That fantasy of forever, of kids, of growing old together, of watching your kids have their own kids, of having that one person who just knew you. That grief becomes a palpable, physical presence. It sits in the passenger seat of your car. It whispers doubts in your ear while you're getting ready for a date. And when your date asks that seemingly simple question, so tell me about yourself, it feels impossibly loaded. How in the world do you condense a lifetime of joy, compromise, pain, and persistence into a neat summary for a total stranger? Then there's the distinct exhaustion that is unique to dating after 50. Come on, y'all know about it. The deep-seated fatigue of telling your story over and over and over again. The fear of facing judgment. Will they see your divorce as a failure? Your single status as some sort of serious baggage? One woman I spoke with, Carol, put it perfectly. She said, I feel like I'm just an appliance to feed their ego. She felt that men she met weren't interested in her, the person who had raised 3 kids, built a career, and survived incredible loss. They were interested in the idea of her, a box to be checked. If she didn't fit, she was quickly and carelessly cast aside. This is the brutal part they don't prepare you for. That feeling of being devalued, of your immense life experience being seen not as a strength, but as a serious complication. You're trying to navigate in dating apps that feel shallow and cruel, where people swipe left or swipe right on a photo that can't possibly capture your depth. You scroll through profiles littered with pointless cliches like looking for a partner in crime, while you're just sitting here thinking, I'm looking for a partner who won't commit emotional larceny on my already bruised heart. And then there's the darker, more predatory truth lurking in the digital shadows, romance scams. It's a cruel reality that the very vulnerability that comes with a healing heart is exactly what criminals target. According to the Federal Trade Commission, romance scams result in a staggering financial loss, and older adults often suffer the most. In 2023 alone, reported losses to romance scams totaled, get this y'all, a whopping $1.1 billion. These scammers spin spurious stories, create fake profiles, shower you with affection to build trust, and then inevitably a crisis arrives. A medical emergency, a business deal gone wrong, a visa problem, and then they pressure you to send them money. They'll avoid video calls and have a million excuses why they can't meet in person. It's a calculated, cold attack on your hope, turning the search for connection into a potential financial and emotional disaster. And beneath it all is that quiet, nagging fear. What if I'm too late? What if all the good ones are gone? What if I'm just too set in my ways, too broken, too much? This fear gets amplified by a society that often ties a woman's value to her youth, creating a current of panic that can be overwhelming. It's a lonely place, wanting connection but terrified to fall. The brutal truth is that before you can even think about loving someone else, you have to face these familiar phantoms. You have to walk through the emotional wreckage of your past and decide what's worth keeping and what needs to be left behind. This isn't about getting back out there. It's about the profound and often painful pilgrimage of getting back to yourself. So where does someone even start to heal, let alone think about dating? The answer, according to a relationship psychologist, is a little radical. You don't start by dating. You start by grieving, purposefully and patiently. So many people over 50 feel this terrible pressing urgency, a belief that time is running out, so they just rush back into the scene. But they're carrying an open wound. You wouldn't run a marathon on a broken leg, yet we expect ourselves to build a new relationship while we're still emotionally hemorrhaging. The very first step is giving yourself permission to patiently process the full, profound weight of your loss. This isn't just about the person, it's about the life you lost. Journal about it, write about it, talk to a therapist. Acknowledge what was good in your past relationship without romanticizing it. And be honest about what was broken without demonizing your ex. This deep reflection is vital because it helps you to see your own part in how things played out, which is what keeps you from repeating the same painful patterns. Readiness isn't some destination you just suddenly arrive at. As dating expert Marie Thuin notes, you're ready when you feel there's space in your heart and life for a new connection. It means your past isn't occupying every room in your emotional house anymore. You've cleaned out a room, opened a window, and you're ready to invite a guest in. The second step is shedding the self-blame. After a relationship ends, especially a long one, our inner critic goes into overdrive. If only I had been more, if I only hadn't. I remember after my own divorce, I tormented myself for months over the most minor matter. My ex-husband's mother and his first wife were these incredible, passionate cooks. Their whole family life revolved around the kitchen. And me, I could barely make toast. I convinced myself that if only I had been a better cook, if only I had loved it the way they did, my marriage wouldn't have ended. It sounds ridiculous now, but that's the kind of toxic story self-blame tells us. You have to forgive yourself. A single relationship's end is rarely one person's singular fault. Owning your experience without letting it define you is the key. Then you have to confront the big lies society tells us about age and love. Oh my gosh. The prevailing belief that you're too old or undesirable is a popular myth. The numbers prove it. According to the Pew Research Center, 28% of people aged 50 to 64 are single, and that number jumps to 36% for those 65 and older. That's a massive pool of people. The real scarcity is in our own mindset. That leads to the third insight, embracing who you really are now. Your power is in your hard-earned authenticity. You know who you are, what you value, and what you will absolutely not tolerate. That kind of clarity is completely compelling. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the only real path to connection. It's being willing to say, This is me, all of me, my strengths, my scars, my past, and my plans. The right person won't be scared off by your story. They'll respect the strength it took to survive it. Finally, when you feel ready, you must shift your goal from finding the one to simply practicing connection. The goal of a first date is just to have an interesting conversation. Think of it like collecting data, learning what you like and how it feels to connect to new people. Be strategic on dating apps. Use recent photos and be specific. Instead of, I like to travel, say, I'm hoping to finally see the Northern Lights next year. And let go of your rigid, restrictive checklist. I'm talking to myself here. Author Francine Rousseau wrote, Love After 50, How to Find It, Enjoy, and Keep It, makes a brilliant point about this. I love it how she says it. She says people worry about settling. But if you find someone who adores you and wants to hear about your day, but they don't have a fancy degree, that isn't settling. That's winning. The goal isn't to replicate your last relationship. The goal is to create something new that fits who you are today. So, we come back to the core question. After the heartbreak, the grief, the hard emotional work, is real soul-stirring love actually possible? Or is it just a futile fantasy? The answer is it absolutely, unequivocally is possible. In fact, the love you find after 50 can be the most profound and peaceful love of your life. Why? Because you are bringing your whole wise, authentic self to the table, y'all. This love isn't based on youthful fantasy or the pressing need to start a family. It's based on a deep, conscious choice to connect. Some research suggests that second marriages are more stable and less likely to end in divorce than first marriages. When you've suffered such stunning loss, you are keenly aware of what truly, profoundly matters. Consider the story of Robert. He was divorced at 55. After a 30-year marriage and was devastated, completely convinced he would be alone forever. He spent a year doing the difficult, dedicated work we've talked about. When he finally started dating again, he went on a dozen failed first dates, Pew! He was discouraged, but he remembered the goal was connection, not a finish line. On his 13th first date, he met a woman, Jill. It wasn't fireworks at first, but the conversation was just easy. They shared similar values and similarly messy past. They took it slow, and today, 5 years later, they're married. And Robert says, I loved my first wife. I really did. But the love I have with Jill is different. It's calmer, deeper. We're not trying to prove anything. We're just enjoying the time we have. It's the most peaceful love I've ever felt. Robert's story isn't a one-off. It's a testament to the fact that love has no age limit. You could fall head over heels in love at 60, 70, or 80. The journey might be tougher, but the view from the top is truly terrific. Finding love after 50 is not a fantasy. It's a real, rich possibility, waiting for anyone brave enough to do the work and to keep their hearts open to the adventure. The brutal truth about finding love after 50 is that it's brutal. It will ask you to confront your deepest pain, challenge your oldest beliefs, and be more vulnerable than you've ever been. But the other side of that truth is this. It's also liberating. It's a chance to not just find a partner, but to truly, finally become yourself. The journey isn't about erasing your past, but integrating it. Your scars are proof of your persistence. Your history is the foundation of your future. The key is to stop seeing your life as a story that's ending and start seeing it as a new chapter that's just waiting to be written. And I'll be honest, I'm right there with you. I'm divorced, and I believe with my whole heart that there's someone out there waiting for me to come along to complete their love story. I believe the best years and the best love may very well be right ahead of us. Now I want to hear from you. This is a conversation, and your wisdom is a huge part of it. In the comments, share one piece of advice you'd give someone re-entering the dating world after 50. What's the biggest lesson you've learned? Your story could be the spark of hope that someone else desperately needs to see today. And if this conversation connects with you, please subscribe and turn on your notifications. We're going to be exploring so many more topics about navigating love and life in our best years. Hey, y'all, I'm Vanessa, and this is Waves of Change. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Remember, you're never too late, and your peace is never too far. Bye.